Piers, it looked bad. But you know what? When the system, you believe the system's cheating you, you go to the system and you protest. And when he was talking about BLM and all the riots, everybody burned down their own city. Why the hell would you do that? If you have a problem with the police department, go to the police department. Why are you burning down black-owned businesses? Why are you burning down black-owned businesses? Why are you burning down your city? Okay, these people felt like they were cheated, and you know what? The facts have come out. They were.
Vinny Oshana from the PBD podcast joined Piers Morgan Uncensored and took on an entire panel of woke activists in one of the most heated debates yet. Things got intense as they tackled the highly controversial J6 issue, with Vinny delivering brutal truth bombs that left the panel stunned. Let's dive into the clip where Vinny Oshana once again shocks Piers Morgan and completely dismantles the woke narrative.
So I agree with J.D. Vance's position on that.
Yeah. Yeah, but Piers, okay, and Piers, by the way, I was a military police in the United States Air Force. Any violence, period, I'm not for it. But that day, Piers, let's think about it. Where was the insurrection? Who had the guns? Who was violent? The FBI, Christopher Wray. We don't even know how many FBI agents, how many informants, how many people you're shooting rubber bullets in people's faces and acting as if they're not going to be upset. Okay, we saw the footage of everybody inside. Who was shooting? Who was taking over? Where was the insurrection? Where was it, Piers? Donald Trump didn't say, go in there and do all of this. A big group of people came in there. Who knows how much they were freaking
Vinny, they were all breaking the law.
Yeah, it looks bad.
Vinny, they were all breaking the law.
Yes.
We have to agree that, right?
Yes. And okay, Piers, I agree. And do you think, who died that day, Piers? Who was actually, the highest crime is murder. Okay? A Capitol Police, Michael Byrd, shot Ashley Babbitt and murdered her. Okay, unarmed United States Air Force veteran. What? He got pardoned as well. Okay, and yes, Piers, it looked bad, but you know what? When the system, you believe the system's cheating you, you go to the system and you protest. And when he was talking about BLM and all the riots, everybody burned down their own city. Why the hell would you do that? If you have a problem with the police department, go to the police department. Why are you burning down black-owned businesses? Why are you burning down black-owned businesses? Why are you burning down your city? Okay, these people felt like they were cheated, and you know what? The facts have come out. They were, so they went to protest, and unless we find out with all the evidence that was destroyed, who was involved, who was in there, Antifa people dressed as Trump supporters, FBI agents inside the Capitol, unless we have all those facts, Piers, you don't know who was actually at fault and who was doing what.
Okay, I mean, what I would say about, we now know that they...
Vinny challenges the mainstream narrative of January 6th, arguing that it was not an insurrection since no firearms were found among the rioters. He also suggests that FBI informants may have incited violence, though there is no conclusive evidence to support this claim. Additionally, he highlights that Ashley Babbitt was the only person directly killed that day, portraying her as an unarmed protester shot by Capitol Police, while critics argue she was breaching a secure area during a chaotic situation. While Vinny raises valid concerns about media framing and government transparency, counter-arguments suggest that intent, not just weapons, determines an insurrection, and Babbitt's shooting was in response to an imminent security threat. Ultimately, his points challenge the dominant narrative, but lack hard evidence in some areas, making this a highly debated issue.
Actually, we don't, because there's never been any evidence produced that 2020 election was rigged. Donald Trump keeps saying it. I wish he wouldn't. He doesn't need to say it. He's won big now. He doesn't need to go back over that again. But actually, including Republican judges, nobody has ever found any concrete evidence that election was rigged. So the reason why people... hang on, Vinny. The reason why people were protesting in the way they did was because they believed it. I certainly believe that. But the reality is it's never been backed up by actual hard evidence, even by Republican judges who've studied it. So this premise that somehow it was illegally stolen from Donald Trump the first time, I've said it to his face, and I believe it now, just as I still believe what I wrote in that column that Wajahat quoted from earlier. I just think that there are certain things where people can continue to say it was stolen and rigged and so on, but you've got to actually at some point stump up the hard evidence. And it's never happened.
May I say something, Piers?
Yeah.
Okay. So
he continues to perpetuate this lie To the point, Piers, where now 80% of Republican voters believe the lie. And some of them were incited by that lie, invited by Donald Trump. In fact, Jacob's former attorney said that Jacob was a guest of Donald Trump, that he was duped by Donald Trump, that he apologized for being there. That was Jacob's former attorney, right? These people were there. These are regular Americans.
Former attorney.
I said former attorney.
Former attorney.
Former attorney. These people were fellow Americans. These people were fellow Americans. They weren't evil. They didn't have horn on their heads. They truly thought that this election was stolen, which it wasn't. No proof has come out that it was stolen. Joe Biden won, just like Donald Trump won in 2024.
But do you accept? All right, but what, Jahad, do you accept the argument?
But they were
hang on, guys.
Sorry, go ahead.
But Jahad,
Sure.
Jahad, do you accept? Because I do, that there was a clear double standard.
If you're finding this breakdown interesting and want to see more content like this, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Your support really helps me bring more discussions like this to the channel. Let's get back to the video.
In the way that people who protested through the BLM months of extreme violence in many cases, trashing institutions and buildings, attacking police. I mean, a lot of people were involved in this. That there was a clear double standard in the way that they were collectively treated by the justice system and the way that the 1,500 January 6th protesters were treated. Do you accept there's been a clear double standard here?
I think there's been an obscene double standard, and I'm so glad you brought it up, because if BLM members, if Black, Muslim, Indigenous Americans were to do what MANGA members did, first and foremost, we wouldn't even gotten to the Capitol because we would have been shot dead. And secondly, the fact that Donald Trump, wait for it, Donald Trump and his fans celebrate the January 6th insurrectionists, right? These are people, wait.
Why aren't you answering my question?
I will. I kept quiet.
It's a bad answer. He doesn't want to answer.
Piers Morgan takes on a dual role in the debate, both challenging and allowing criticism of the January 6th narrative. Initially, he pushes back hard, stating that laws were undeniably broken, as Trump supporters trespassed into the Capitol, disrupted government proceedings, and engaged in criminal activity. He firmly asserts that, regardless of motive, illegal actions were committed and must be acknowledged. However, despite this stance, Piers doesn't shut down Vinny's arguments entirely. Instead, he allows Vinny to raise questions about media bias, pointing out how BLM rioters face less scrutiny despite widespread violence. He also acknowledges concerns about government transparency, particularly regarding FBI involvement or hidden details about the day's events. While Piers does not fully agree with Vinny's perspective, his willingness to entertain alternative viewpoints makes for a more balanced discussion, giving space to both establishment and counter-establishment narratives. But what do you think? Was Piers fair in his argument, or did he dodge key points? Drop your thoughts in the comments.